Pentacoastal, a recollection of Australasian exploration. A film by Wade Goodall and Shane Fletcher.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the Vans live stream. I am Tanner Gudauskas here on behalf of the Vans Surf team. It's been a little while since we've connected via live streams, but we're back and we're stoked because today we are going to get to celebrate an online premiere for the surf movie Pentacoastal from Wade Goodall and Shane Fletcher. And I think that this is going to be really fun. You know, that kind of speaks back to the time frame that we're living in right now, where normally I'm sure these guys would love to do a bunch of premieres. I actually got to see it in the Triple Crown this last winter in Hawaii. They did a premiere over there before COVID-19 came through, and the movie is absolutely insane. So I'm excited to catch up with these guys so we can kind of get their insight and their thoughts on the project, what it was like to make it, and what they're doing right now. I wonder what they're doing actually right now. There they are. They're hanging out.
Thanks for having us.
What up, boys? How you doing?
Good, man. Just dealing with the COVID scenario, but yeah, we're here. We're good.
You guys are looking good. Yeah, Wade, what's up?
Yeah, it's so good to see you, mate.
Hey, so you guys, I got to ask you a question here because we're doing this all live, which is a trip anyways, but I got to see the movie as a premiere in Hawaii. What's your guys' thoughts on kind of releasing it online right now versus kind of, the traditional way?
Well, yeah, the whole situation is hard, and I mean, we made this film to be on the big screen and to be heard really loudly. So of course the premieres were going to be really fun, and it's a really great way to share with people what you've made and have a good time surrounding it. But it's not really important in the big scheme of things. Like everyone's in the same boat. We just have to adjust and do what we have to do to get over this and get through this. So although it's a shame that we can't come and hang out with people and celebrate this movie in that way, at least now we can put it online and share, and hopefully it, I guess, just for those people that are bored, gives them something to do, or those people that are
Definitely
just need a release from their day to day. This is for them. Yeah.
We were talking, Shane, like the way that the soundtrack is, especially when I saw it live, it felt like the music was going straight through my body. Like it hits you hard. And we're saying at least, if you're in your home, like you should at least try to celebrate it, right? Like get a good pair of headphones or pump the volume up to maximum.
like we'd love that as like co-directors for this piece. Like Wade mentioned, we always envisioned it on a big screen, loudspeakers. Obviously, the circumstances and the time now is different, but if anyone's got a home TV or some big speakers or a projector, blast that thing. If not, get your iPad and some headphones and let's try and get into it properly.
Yeah, we really wanted to make it a sensory experience. So
Yeah.
if you can play it as loud as you can on the biggest thing you can, that's the best way to see it.
We'd love
For
that.
sure.
Well, actually, because that kind of ties into, I think on May 14th or 15th, your guys' time, we're going to be doing another one of these lives where we're going to premiere it. And then I guess we're going to get the entire surf team on like a Zoom call or something and get to talk to everybody about their experience making the movie. So I'm sure that'll be hilarious.
That'll be funny. It'd be good to talk to everyone. Good to see everyone.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're the same, but I miss my friends. I miss doing stuff. It's going to be crack up to see everyone and catch up on things. That'll be a good one, I reckon. That'll be funny.
Definitely.
Hey, so I got to ask, Wade, the title Pentacoastal, is it true that it comes from a Nick Cave song?
Well, yeah, that's where the initial spark came from. So it's like, when you have those ideas and you got to write them down, it was just one of those. I was really making an effort to stay in Australia for the winter. So I was kind of looking at that sort of whole Australasian area, and then I was listening to the Nick Cave song, I think it's on Boatman's Call. It's Brompton Oratory. And yeah, there's a line in there, it's like, "Hail to the Pentecostal morn," I think. And Pentecostal just like rung in my head, and so much that I just went straight home, and that map I've been looking at to visit over winter, I just drew a pentagram over it, and it directly pointed to the areas I wanted to visit. So with no like goal, it was just simply something that popped in my head, and it made sense, and on a piece of paper it looked cool. So I was like, there's the art for whatever this may become. And the more I thought about it, the more the whole aesthetic sort of came to fruition, and I just sort of felt like it was something a bit more special than something I would want to do by myself. So that's why I approached Shane and Vans and proposed to do this with the family, and I'm so glad I did, because it is something worth sharing.
It's insane. And too, I like how you made it a full, complete team movie. You know, it highlights a lot of your surfing, but then a lot of your surfing with the team. But I was curious, Shane, what was it like when Wade came to you with basically like a top-down idea, right? Like he had the whole concept fleshed out, and you guys hadn't even started filming yet.
Yeah, so I mean, as far as surf films go, that was a different approach. Usually probably bottom up, and you compile all your footage and it'll start to take its course as far as the creative direction goes, just simply because it's so hard to score swells and, you know, get everyone on trips and those kind of things. But having this, I guess, the architecture behind the film cemented and established, and when he presented it to me, I was like so in line with what his ideas and the thoughts behind it. I was just like, felt inspired to just give it my all, and then it was like, okay, we've got the concept, we've got the theme, this is our blueprint. Now we just got to flesh it out and work back down through it, which was a challenge, but, you know, I'm really proud of the product we made, and I'm grateful that Wade brought me on board for it.
Yeah, it was so nice to have something to build off.
Yeah.
I haven't really done that in a long time, and I felt like I was craving that in surf film for sure. Building it the opposite way was difficult to capture what you've got in the script, but it made everything so cohesive. Even though it was way harder to gather everything, everything was shot with a predetermined goal the whole time. So that's how it all came together.
It all had purpose.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that was just like, oh, that was cool, that happened, let's chuck it in. And definitely probably stepped away from the candid nature, which I enjoyed because that happens so prominently in like web clips and the majority of things that are online and on Instagram and stuff. So to have purpose behind a project and why we're doing it, that was really cool to be a part of and be challenged with it.
Yeah.
There is more purpose than just like the pentagram drawn on the map though, too, right? Yeah, I mean, you guys explore a whole side of elemental worship. Is that right?
Yeah, well, like when you see a pentagram, it can mean so many different things. This one is more of a Wiccan or a pagan pentagram, so it comes off the elemental. So each point is a different element: water, earth, fire, air, spirit. Mm-hmm. So I feel like you feel those things when you're traveling in this area, and I don't know, that was a major thing as well. Like everything is undertoned, you know. These are all concepts, these are all templates, but it's never overemphasized. These are just like things that we want to be in the bare bones of it all. Mm-hmm. So we want to capture the spirit of the whole adventure as well. So that's how the Wiccan and pagan pentagram came into it.
It was definitely more arcane in the sense that it was a bit more subliminal and below the waterline. So that was cool too, and not be trying to tap into the 666 realm too much. It wasn't like trying to be, you know, antichrist. It was there's a lot more to it, but it's definitely subliminal and below the waterline of the film. And if you choose to sort of dive deep, you can go as deep as you want. But
that's what I love is You can take it at whatever level. You could just watch it as a surf movie, or you can get this deeper cut, and there's actually quite a lot of meaning to it. But like, what would be a specific shot, Shane, that you could say for a viewer when they're going to see it that would bring together all those elements?
I think when we put it together, we originally wanted to represent the 5 points almost like a chapter structure. So they're hidden across the whole film, but the intro stanza after Wade's animations finish was definitely a key point for us to like represent those 5 elements through scenery shots, or it might be an underwater shot. So again, they're subliminal, but when you watch the film, that opening kind of stanza, that first sort of chapter of real footage, we definitely wanted to give a nod to those elements and just try and celebrate them. So I've got a few favourites in there, but I'll let you pick the ones you like to.
They kind of happen naturally too. There's so many shots that that'll almost run through the whole 5 spirits.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it works. It's a natural thing.
It was very organic.
Yeah.
Through the process. It was we had our blueprint, but yeah, I guess things worked. So that was cool. Felt like we were on the right path with it when it started to click in its own gear and happen naturally.
It feels like you guys really celebrate like kind of a sense of escapism, where it's basically getting out there, whether it's the desert or somewhere with just your friends, like kind of making like a real pure effort to just surf and enjoy. Was that predisposed, or was that something that I just picked up on?
We speak of all these ideas and inspirations and goals for capture, but the bare bones of this thing, this is a surf movie.
Yeah.
All the main thing I wanted to do was excite people to go surfing, and especially to go surfing with your friends. Take a step back from purely showcasing, I don't know, certain people or certain things, and celebrate that whole escapism, getting away off the beaten track, hanging with your friends. Those pure moments in surf travel are like the epitome of it all. So I really wanted that strongly throughout the whole video.
For sure.
I mean, you can definitely pick up on that. You feel it. Basically, you watch the thing and you want to call your friends up and do a surf trip somewhere. It's rad. It evokes emotion. The whole thing. It has, like you guys said, like an undertone. You know, whether it's the colors in the film or the soundtrack, you get this weird sense of like urgency. Is that something like, I know you guys were watching a lot of cinema. Wade, you've always been pretty deep into watching movies. Was there any inspirations specifically?
Yeah, for sure. At the start, I was in a real big phase of exploring like Australian cult cinema, especially late 70s, early 80s stuff. So there's films like Wake in Fright, Picnic at Hanging Rock, Walkabout, The Cars That Ate Paris. That whole genre, Australian cult cinema, is my absolute favourite. And there's always an undertone of like an agoraphobic nature. There's like it's the land versus the man. It's a sense of something bad is going to happen when nothing is really bad is happening. Yeah. So I wanted to like showcase that, because especially when I travel, especially in like desert regions of Australia or something, it does feel so much more powerful than little old me, and that whole spirit I wanted to capture, because like being a little white man in this ancient land is a powerful thing, and there is always a sense of like it is much bigger than us, and that's what I wanted to capture somewhat in the film, and that's like, in saying that it is a surf video, so I'm not going to capture that spirit in the way that a motion picture did, or those pictures did, but that was like a major influence in me. It's like a sensory feeling, so much coming from the sound and the vision more than actually like a deliberate act.
Yeah.
Shane, what was it like working with somebody that had such a clear idea of what they were after? That's pretty radical.
Yeah, it was great. Like, it was it definitely charged me to kind of, I felt like it was a privilege to be bought the blueprint, and I wanted to make sure that I was given like a seed, so to speak, and I wanted to make sure I could help germinate that the best way possible, or doing through different things. But Yeah, it was one of those ones. It was like, it was great, but at the same time, it was incredibly challenging. Like, we're both really good friends outside of working together, so I think there's enough respect for each other's creativity. But there was times where obviously we would have pissed each other off and fought some things out. But that's all part of it, and I think, you know, two minds make things better, and I'm all for collaboration. And we just gave each other the platform to hear each other out, work through the things, weigh it up, see what worked and what didn't work. But no, it was a really good process. I wouldn't have changed anything.
Yeah, that's for sure.
What was your thoughts on all Wade's animations? Because I think we have like a behind the scenes clip of some of his art, but what was it like working with that as well?
Yeah, that was crazy. Like, the amount of time that goes into a single frame, let alone piecing together like a 2-minute introduction and then an outro and the different bits and pieces. It was inspiring to see, and I wanted to make sure that I lived up to my work rate and my work ethic lived up to the things I was presented. But it was a cool process. Like, Wade had a clear idea of things he wanted to represent, and then we'd work together to shoot those and storyboard them. And then Wade basically had a visual blueprint to go off, and then watching what he come back with the abstract elements and the things that were just so left of field, but still encaptured that original concept and the agoraphobic undertones of even escapism through the intro. It was it was amazing. It was a pain in the ass to stitch it all together. trying to scan, like, I think it was like maybe, what did we do, 1700?
Yeah, 1700 individual frames.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, luckily scanning them took a quarter of the time as painting them.
So we just set up, it was pretty much here, this is where we did it all. Wade painted in his studios, but once we had the body of work, you'll probably see in some of that behind the scenes footage, there's just paper on paper on paper. And there's some amazing pieces in there. And once we got it onto the digital platform, to see it come to life
that was so
together
exciting.
With like the vivid colours on the screen and that kind of thing, because it was all still a bit of an experiment. Like, the pictures were amazing and we knew what we wanted to do, but making sure we actually pulled it off, we're like, okay. And it's just the time process behind drawing them was like, takes so long to do that you're still hoping it's going to come together, because you can't just do a little bit and test it, because you might get half a second of animation and you can't really tell. So it's almost like a blind step of faith where you're just like, okay, we know we're going to make this work, we know we're going to pull it off, but to see it come together live was really cool.
I want to know who's done 1,700 pieces of art. That's freaking crazy. That's psychotic, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, but it was actually so fun. Like, I have a busy life. I have 2 kids and a family, and I don't really get the chance to sit down and draw that much or paint that much. So with this, it was a dream come true, really. When I wasn't away on a trip or planning a trip, I was in my studio painting when I wasn't at home with my family. So it was a pleasure, really, to get that much time on the table. And like, I feel like I grew as a painter as well from the experience. Like, I had to do 1,700 paintings and they all had to be different. So I learned some tricks and some turned out crap, but then you're like, oh, it doesn't matter, because that's not even a millisecond, you know? Yeah. Just move on, try and make the next one good, and then all of a sudden you'll do one and it was like really cool. You're like, this is a standalone piece, like I'm gonna steal that one when it's over, or whatever. Or you see one and you're like, oh, I'm gonna give that one to my friend, that reminds me of them. So like, I learned how to like do a lot of different styles of painting, because I use so many different mediums as well. Mm-hmm. I use like pencils and water-soluble sketching, which I've always used, but then I moved into a little bit of oil, watercolor, acrylic. So I just kind of like, it was not just a project in its own. It was actually like an apprenticeship in painting, to be honest. And it was like, I loved it, and I really hope I can have the opportunity to do more, because that was like, apart from surfing, I haven't really done something that I've like truly enjoyed that much before. So it's a whole new world.
Let's watch that clip so everybody can kind of see what we're talking about right there.
Pentacostal is a surf film co-directed with Shane Fletcher, all stemming from an idea of a pentagram drawn on a map of Australasia. Basically, a group of destinations that I wanted to visit and surf and document, and I thought it was a good enough idea to bring some friends. I've just always really loved animation. It was something that I always wanted to do, and I think I had a moment when watching surf videos where the stuff in between surfing just started to get really monotonous and super boring. So instead of screwing your fins in, just wanted to fill those spaces with something that people could just take how they wanted. And I feel like that's what art is. It can be pointless, but it can mean a lot. So it's all up to the person viewing. It went from a storyboard to capturing the motion to transferring that motion into paint. And that's where all the fun was, because you could be as detailed or as abstract as you can imagine. When you bounce from semi-vivid watercolor piece to like a monochrome pencil sketch, it was really cool for me to see that broad range of mediums come together. I'm a huge fan of physical things. I've never had that much of a connection to the digital world. And I just felt like if I was going to do something like this, it was never going to be on an iPad or on a computer. I wanted to do it all by hand, on paper, with paint, with paintbrush and pencil, and have a physical body at the end. I just felt that was my path for this.
Dude, 1,700 photos later, here we are. Hey, so Wade, I gotta ask you on that. Because you mentioned in it basically kind of an analog approach in the art in the intro as well as the outro. But did you guys use any other mediums that would be considered analog to the movie? Like even, I don't know, different kind of cameras or something?
Yeah, so we shot with a broad range of cameras, but they're, in my opinion, and I don't know about Shane, but I feel like they are the best the best vehicles you can use to capture anything. Yeah. Red Cinema 8mm for lifestyle, which I feel like 8mm captures travel and just that whole aesthetic as perfectly as anything else does. You can shoot anything, a family movie, a walk down the street, and it feels more real and it has more nostalgia. That's why I love 8mm. And then there's also some 16mm stuff in there too, which Dave Fox shot. So yeah, those three things are like my favorite things.
Yeah, and like you're saying, when you step into the Super 8 or 16mm, it's way more emotive. It's just like, and for me as someone behind the camera, like you can shoot with a huge red rig, but if you're trying to get a scene that's a bit more representing like an emotion or a memory of a trip, you can have a Super 8 in hand, and it's like a bit more intimate with who you're filming. If you bring out a big red with cameras and lights and all that kind of stuff, it just takes away from the natural feeling of what happened, and it doesn't feel like a recollection when you watch it back. It feels like you're watching a movie scene, and there can be a sense of acting, or like not a falsehood, but it doesn't feel as authentic sometimes as like the Super 8 moments.
Well, that's because on the poster itself, you guys wrote a recollection of Australasian exploration following a quasi-recursive map. So it's kind of true. Like you guys are almost treating it like your scrapbook or your memories, and like not focusing in on like a specific time or moment. It seems like.
No, and that's the whole thing of the pentagram. If you follow it, it is never ending. Yeah. It's like an infinity, really, and that's what surfing is. That's what travel is. It's a constant thing. So that's how we try to capture the whole thing.
And it was a bit of a celebration of like wave worship. Those elements, like following that recursive map. It's just like Wade said, it's never ending, and it's just like paying homage and paying tribute. And it was exciting.
Yeah. So what's a quasi-recursive map? Is that like you guys are saying? Is that the upside down pentagram?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
that's the map. That's 2 years of my life running around that star.
Just watching all that art, I can't wait to be able to premiere that movie, because I remember when I got to see it live, the intro itself, it has such a feel just naturally. Like you could just watch it and just not know any of the backstory. But then when you dive in, that intro scene, it has a lot of meaning, right, for the whole entire movie.
Yeah, for sure. It's meant to. It is just kind of a visual representation of my social anxieties, in a way. That's why we captured, like, we went to, like, our version of Wall Street, Martin Place, and just filmed drones and drones of businessmen and just people working in that whole just drone of monotony and I don't know, drab and just the intensity of a city and everything that is not a surf trip. I wanted that build up to. I wanted. Oh, what am I saying?
To me, it was like sorry. You feel free.
Shane, like you were saying the other day, like on a audio sense, you guys create that little bit of anxiety too, right? Like the whole movie itself it has that undertone, correct?
For sure, and that was one of the things that Wade first sort of, when he brought the idea to me in its raw form, one thing that he was trying to express was that it's when it all becomes too much, escape. And that's the time to celebrate and elemental worship. So I guess the storyboard behind the animation and what I tried to depict as best as possible for Wade to use was that sense of the overwhelming pressures and just that monotony of whether it's the 9 to 5 sort of grid life, and you become desensitized to the natural world and those elements in particular. And when it does become too much, escape. So that animation scene tried to sort of stir that emotion, that agoraphobic undertone, a bit of a freak out. And then you'll see in the movie, it cuts to fleeing and escaping and then following that map.
Yeah, it's not so much like...
Well, I guess...
It's not so much like a thing against... It's not like working is intense, I'd rather go to the desert and go surfing. It's more of like it's a nod to when things get intense in your life, take some time and go to some open space, or it's more of a headspace. When things get too much, simplify, mellow it out, and that was more the meaning behind the thing.
Well, even too, like I really appreciate how you guys showed it all, because watching the movie, it is an undertone, and like here on this specific live stream, we're kind of giving the viewer, if they want to take it to that level, there's a ton of art and meaning behind the entire film, and if not, just turn the volume way the freak up. You got a great surf film. You guys scored waves everywhere, so I'm just psyched to talk with every single guy in the movie. So that's Kyuss King, Nate Fletcher, Harry Bryant, Dane Reynolds. I think Patrick too. I think my brother's on, I hope. And I don't know, are you guys excited for when we launch this thing for real?
Yeah, pumped.
Yeah, for sure. So excited to share it with everyone. It's been a real journey. And like you said, there's so many undertones and stuff in the video, but also we just wanted to deliver a surf movie that made you want to go surfing.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. It'll be really cool to catch up with them, because we had some really, really funny times through this whole thing. And
some good times in there.
Yeah, I couldn't have done it without everyone. That's the thing too. This is a huge collaboration between me and Shane, not only, but all the surfers, all the extra cameramen, like everyone had their place and everyone was in it because I'm a genuine fan of them and what they do. So yeah, it'd be good to see my friends again, for sure.
Yes. Well, my hat's off to you guys. I really love the movie, and you know that I've already grommed out, watched it a ton of times, and I'm really looking forward.
Yeah, that makes me happy.
Yeah, stoked. That's cool. Glad you enjoyed it. I'm excited to get it out now.
Hey, can we fire up that home premiere thing? Like, let's get, like, whoever can get the most shrined out Pentecostal viewing, let's flare them up or something. That'd be awesome.
Hear that? Yeah, make the home proud. Get a screen, get some speakers. Maybe throw some free shoes around or something.
Yeah, get the Barbie fired up. Hey, well, cool, you guys. Well, thank you so much, and I guess I'll see you in the next couple days.
Yeah, thanks heaps, Tanner.
Awesome. Thanks for your time, Tanner.
See you on
Alright,
the web,
fucking
mate.
sick.
Thanks, bro.
See you, bud.
Later. All right, everybody. You heard it. That's May 14th if you live in America, May 15th if you're down under, and it's gonna go live. Premiere on the Vans YouTube. And before we premiere it, we're gonna catch up with the whole team, like we said. That's Harry Bryant, Kyuss King, Nate Fletcher, Dane Reynolds. I'm sure I'm missing a couple Pats in there. The movie is freak show good. So I hope you can tune in. I hope you enjoyed today. That was really cool to hear the insight from those guys, and the movie is a real treasure. So looking forward to it. See ya.